Okay, we are in. It's recording. I'll go to screen share. Go back to the agenda. We are ready.
Alrighty, so we are calling the special board of directors meeting of Thursday, 28th of May, 2020 to order at 12:04. Board secretary, take the roll, please.
Thank you. President Alvarado? Not here.
He's absent.
Vice President Suda?
Aki.
Director Weiner?
Here.
Director Stanley? Can she not hear?
She's muted.
Let me see if I can unmute her.
Can you hear me?
All right. I can hear you now. Are you here?
Okay, cool. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, let me close this again so I can see the screen. All right. The next on the agenda is the B, the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, I'm sorry.
Director Zepeda is here.
Oh, thank you. Director Zepeda? Just say here for me.
He's muted. It looks like he's muted.
I'm here.
There he
Okay.
is.
Are you here? You're here. Okay.
I think I'm here.
All right. I hear you. Okay. The
I have
it's
a
B,
point
the
of
Pledge of
order.
Allegiance.
Wait.
I have
Okay.
a point of order.
I think he's going to say what I was going to tell you, but go ahead, Mr. Director.
I would like to, I think we need to propose that Vice President Suddeth chair the meeting before we go on.
Yes.
And I move that we support that resolution.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Do I need to take the roll?
Yes.
Yeah.
Vice President Suda?
Yes.
Director Weiner?
Yes.
Director Stanley?
Yes.
And Director Zepeda?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you ready to move forward?
Yes, please.
Thank you. B is the Pledge of Allegiance, or an observation of a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag. Harry, you're on mute. To the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands,
For which it
one
stands,
nation,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty and
with
justice for all.
liberty and justice for all. Next is the approval of the agenda. Any member of the board may request an agenda item be postponed, removed, or heard out of order. An item may not be added to the agenda unless it meets the requirements of an emergency situation as defined in Government Code Section 54956.5.
What is your pleasure, fellow board members?
Hearing no objection, I propose we approve the agenda as written.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved by Director Weiner and seconded by Director Zepeda. Can we please call for a roll call vote?
Yes, ma'am. Vice President Suda,
Yes.
Director Zepeda.
Yes.
Sorry, I called that out of order. Director Weiner
Yes.
and Director Stanley.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Passes unanimously.
Next, public comments.
Next is number 3, public comments. I did not receive any, and I don't believe there's anybody here. Do you still want me to read?
No, ma'am. We can move to
Okay.
the next item.
Number 4 is workshop A, review and discuss proposed 5-year strategic plan.
Okay, so the intent of today's meeting is to just hear from the board on your comments or any additional feedback. I have received feedback individually, so we've got that information. But again, this is just one more discussion to get any additional comments, feedback, suggestions, and then the intent is to bring this back to the board, depending on today's outcome, on Monday for approval, and the approval would be for the plan and all of the contents that are included. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tara, and we'll go from there.
Tara, do you want me to screen share, or would you like to?
So,
Tara,
there.
can
Thank
hear
you, Gina. I
So do you want me to close
unmute
it?
myself now.
Okay, so
yeah,
you
that
want me
would
to
be
go ahead and start?
fantastic.
There you go.
And
You're up.
then what I can do is, yeah, so I'll open this up and then I will screen share. Screen share. Share. PowerPoint. So I put together just a very brief presentation, kind of just like reminding us where we're at in the process and what we've done and kind of what we've gone through. Really quickly, is this not there? So just to kind of give us a timeline of where we've been and where we are today. On January 7th, we did our initial board workshop where we discussed the current mission, vision, values, and the current goals, and we went through some brainstorming sessions on what might be included in a new vision, the fact that we really like the mission very closely to where it stands, and then discussed values and current goals. At board workshop number 2, the initial plan was presented with the proposed elements built from that initial discussion, and then I received quite a bit of feedback regarding structure and clarity. So we revised the plan and were given indications from the board that we should come up with a new structure, like a more cohesive structure. And so at the last board meeting on May 5th, we presented a revised plan using that board feedback and direction to provide something with a very clear indication on how the format works. And today we're going to receive any final feedback regarding the plan and incorporate that as well. So a quick reminder on the background of the process. I know you guys have gone through multiple strategic planning processes and multiple definitions of everything. In the last meeting, we went through how we're defining them for this process. And that Lisa and I had come up with some very specific process goals to provide plan clarity, a plan purpose, and plan alignment, and ensuring that those 3 things were met. So before we talk about the changes to the plan, I wanted to talk a little bit about why we have a plan in a very sort of organized format. So the plan is to guide decisions, so it empowers staff to make informed decisions guided by clear board direction. So it's your direction to staff so that it creates a framework for everyday decision making. And then it also helps to make decisions in times of crisis, but still keeping the organizational goals in mind whenever you're dealing with that. So COVID-19 is a great example of that could really derail a strategic plan, but if you have one in place, you're able to continue forward on the goals that you've established in addition to external factors impacting those decisions. It also is a tool to educate stakeholders. So it gives you guys something to hand out or discuss when you're speaking with the public or to legislators, and in other arenas like industry conferences, and allows you to sort of have a very concise piece that you could hand out if you needed to. And then it's also to ensure accountability. It provides a resource for you to be able to evaluate success, and the way to do that is through the action plan. There are timelines associated with that, with each strategy, so that you'll be able to hold staff accountable to those timelines that achieve the goals that we've set forth. So, plan clarity, strategic plan components. Now, we talked briefly last time about how the vision is the overarching piece of where you're trying to go. So it's basically where you see yourself in 5 years. It's how you see the future of the organization, and it is absolutely board directed. The mission statement defines how you get there every single day. So it's what you're doing today, tomorrow, and how you're going to sort of reach that vision. Your core values describe the culture of the organization. So it's the how you approach every decision. Then strategic goals define the direction, the individual direction of how you're going to get to that vision. So it's the breakdown of that vision. And then the strategies identify the more tactical approaches to these goals. And then finally, the actions are the specific activities, like the tasks to accomplish all of those things. So an example to kind of flesh that out is if we're trying to create a holistic plan for environmental stewardship through the efficient wastewater management, extensive community engagement, inspirational leadership, and integrated partnerships, then every single day we're going to be protecting public health through safe, responsible wastewater collection and treatment, recovering that water for reuse, promoting environmental stewardship for our community, and really focusing on the core values put forth. Then we're looking at this specific goal in this case, which is promoting financial policies and practices that support sustainability, integrity, innovation, et cetera. And that feeds into the core values because it highlights sustainability. It highlights basically all of those core values, and then serves to support the mission and then leading to the vision. And one way in which staff is going to be doing that is by creating a long-term financial forecast. And then the first step of that is to develop a 5-year financial outlook. And that includes somebody who's on lead. So the people who are responsible for that are Justin and Lisa, and it has a due date of Q2 fiscal year 2020. Getting into plan purpose, creating a vision that defines the way forward. So previously we'd presented 3 different vision options. The board really responded to the option of creating a holistic plan for environmental stewardship through efficient wastewater management, extensive community engagement, inspirational leadership, and integrated partnerships. At the last meeting, it was discussed that really sort of reflected what you were trying to go for, and I haven't heard anything besides. I have gotten some feedback that may not be a direction you guys want to pursue, but that so far has been the board direction. Mission, there wasn't really much change. It just was a tightening. You can just see that we've reduced some of the words and gotten rid of the West County specific focus. And then core values. They haven't changed much, but one thing we discussed last meeting is that we couldn't escape sustainability. It's everywhere. It's part of, it really truly is part of the thing that makes you unique, and especially as an organization. And so therefore it was, is being proposed as being added to the core values, along with some definitions to help others understand what those words mean specifically to you, since they do have a broad definition and can be used in many, many ways. And then We, based on your feedback, established goal-setting objectives, and we're asked to present goals to the board for them to review, look at, and approve or change. And that was to include all the sentiments previously established by the board, add any additional clarity, leverage discussions that we've already had, so through the January and April meetings, and then streamline the number of goals so that we can kind of take those down to really sectors of what you're trying to accomplish, so that it creates that plan alignment and goes back to hopefully achieving that mission statement that we're looking to achieve. So that's just a list of the current goals. The proposed goals, we've kind of already gone through them. I'm not going to bother rereading them. I know you guys have some opinions. And then we get into kind of logos. So before I move into logos, I'd love to sort of pause and talk about these high-level components before we move into the logo discussion, which I know will be extensive because there is a lot of new development on that front. Anything?
So you want us to talk about just this part, Ms. Sarah?
Yeah, just this part. So goals, core values, mission, vision.
Okay,
I'm trying to.
perfect.
And
Thank
if you
you.
want me to pull anything up specifically, I'm happy to do so. Like if you want me to pull up vision, I can pull up vision as we kind of talk about the different pieces.
All right, so let's start with can you go forward a page? The mission vision page. Let's start here. Okay. So let's start with feedback on this. Mace Director Stanley.
I'm still reading. Could you come back to me?
I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
I said I'm still reading. Could you come back to me?
Back to you.
I said I'm still reading. Could you come back to me?
Okay. Director Zepeda.
No comments on this page. I like it. I think it's looking at the whole district holistically. I like that word in there. No changes for me. I like what I see so far.
Thank you. Director Weiner.
Yeah, so the way I approached today was to make comment on the actual plan itself. And
Okay.
so I would like to wait till we start going through it to discuss all the individual parts. But if this is the way we're going to do, then I will say I did not flag the vision for comment.
Okay. Now I'll tell you, giving you feedback from, I know that President Navarrado told me to let you know that he didn't have any issues. Here, looking at his notes. Director Stanley, anything? I'm coming back to you.
Yes, thank you. I don't really have a problem with it, but I would like to say something, if I may.
Go ahead.
I realize that we're calling this the strategic plan, but this is also seems to be combined with our annual review of our mission, vision, and values. And that works out. I just want to remind the board that this is the one document, the one piece of work us as directors get to point to and say, we did that. That is what we stand for. And I personally don't mind it taking as long as it needs to take to where we feel satisfied that we, the board, has done our job, and we feel we feel comfortable that the 5 directors that we have, this review is happy with it. And overall, I really like, one of the things that drew me to being a director when I sat down with Leonard McNeil was that this was a small community, the West County Wastewater District. And it's small enough to where we know everybody, we can know everybody's names, and I don't want to sound like a big corporate entity where we're saying a lot, but I walk away scratching my head not really understanding what exactly was said. And I still am advocating for goals that are that we can easily say, okay, we met that goal, let's pull that out of there, let's add another goal. And it's very, very clear as to what it is that we, the board, are looking for to measure our general manager against, rather than just throwing together the kitchen sink. And the way it currently is, I don't understand what it says, quite frankly. And I want anybody of any background to understand clearly what it is the board is saying we stand for. And so I just want to take our time and make sure that we've been really thoughtful and done something that we felt that we did a good job on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. With the vision statement, and then even with the next one. So with the vision statement, I like it. I think that we've spent a lot of time on this new one with 3 different consultants. And I think that it looks like a good blend of all of our input. Even when I look at the language, yes, I like holistic, probably because it's one of my words. But I think it also blends in all of our words. Even the vocabulary blends in the vocabulary of everything that all of us brought to the table. And it has the visionary aspect to it. So I'm fine with it. I hear what Director Stanley is saying. I would like to just say something while we're going through this. I know that we probably won't agree 100%, but I would like for us to make, if we're going to not like something, I would like for us to make a recommendation as to what we're going to do rather than say we don't like it. That's my preference, because we've had a chance to go through this. This is our 4th meeting going through this, so it would be nice if we come with something that we do like, or we would rather see. Can we go to the next slide? Mission, same thing. Director Stanley?
Yes, I'm fine.
Director Zepeda?
Same, I think it says the same thing as before. We just reworded it a little bit. It's cleaner, it's a little more thorough. I like it.
Director Wiener?
Yes, I support this mission statement.
I'm same. And I have the same notes from President Alvarado. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you, Ms. Gina. Director Stanley?
When the core values were first listed, I think it was a couple of years ago, the consultant that we had at the time had done a lot of work with staff and the word trust was really high up for them. And we put the word trust under service only because service is what we do. We serve our community, we serve our environment, whatever. We can use the word service, and that's what we do. And then trust, because we also, as directors, had come up with a whole bunch of words, and trust was also in our words. Trust was second. So I prefer trust, service, and then trust. And I think that all the words on the core values are strong words. I don't think that they need I don't think that they need the words that come after them. And if we do think that they need the words that come after them, I would like to spend some more time rewording them. Is that along the lines of which you were asking for, Director, Vice President Studdeth?
Yes, sort of. Yes. And
What?
if you don't like it, then what would you change?
I would just move trust to be the second thing under service.
That part's fine. I get that part. You say you don't like the words that come after them, then what would you change?
Well, I haven't sat down and figured that out, but I don't particularly like the words that come after them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Director Zepeda?
There we go. I'm okay with them. I don't mind moving trust up. I don't think we are looking at our core values and saying, I'm going to do this one first, but not before that one. I think they're all done together, cohesively and in unison. We're not going to, one doesn't mean more than the other, but I'm fine moving trust up. It makes sense. So I'm fine with it moving up. The words next to them, I'm fine with them as well. I can go either way. Other accountability, I've never heard it that way. If it's to be, it's up to me. It makes me think. Not sure if I like it yet, but it's unique. I haven't heard it said that before. I think it does say accountability. Again, if I want something done, I have to do it. I don't point to somebody else. So it makes you really think. When I saw this earlier, when the agenda was sent out, and even last time as well, it really makes me stop and think, like, what does that mean? Like, oh yeah, it's me, right? It's not you, it's me. I got to get it done. It's not just point fingers. So I like it. That's it for me now.
Thank you. Director Weiner?
Yeah, okay, I'm unmuted. I, again, like everyone else, moving trust up under service is okay with me, and I agree with Director Zepeda that they're all equal, but I like playing to the staff. They were very concerned about trust, and so I'm happy about number 2. And I really liked all the words. I thought the idea of turning them into actions was a really good idea. I don't think the specifics matter that much. I think I like it. I like accountability's words, and I like sustainability's words a lot. And the rest are great. Starts with the truth and ends with the truth. That is, yeah, I really appreciate all those little add-ons that make the concepts much more personal and easy to understand. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Weiner. And I would just say it to your comments, because I agree. I agree with what you just said. I don't think, honestly, I don't think it matters to me either way if trust is moved to the second spot, or if trust in the last spot, or if trust is in the first spot, as long as trust is there. I think that all of the core values have to be the core values. If it makes you feel better to have it in the second spot, then it's in the second spot. I think that it has to be there. The thing that I like the most is that it says it starts with the truth and it ends with the truth. If that's the case, then put trust as the number one. If it's that, if it was that important to the staff, then put it as the number one slot. The thing that I think that's the most important is that the core values be reiterated. I don't think we should be as concerned about having the definitions here, because the definitions, the thing about core values is you can put them anywhere on the website with or without the definitions, but we need to have the definitions somewhere. There was something that Tara said when she was talking about it, is that these words mean different things to different people. What do they mean to WCW? What do they mean? And so us defining it for ourselves is going to be important. I like the definition for trust. That's the one that jumps out at me the most. I like the definition for accountability. I like it. I use it in my office a lot when we say be accountable, because we talk about practice blameless problem solving. And that's another way of saying if it's going to be, it's up to me. So I like that. And I think that some of these, sometimes people look at these words and they just see them as marketing words rather than actual definitions. So it doesn't bother me as much. If we want to change something, there's a saying by Maya Angelou that says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. So if we don't like it, then we can change these definitions. But I think we do need to define them in some way. Okay. Any more comments on these?
Could I add something to this?
Absolutely.
The directors are done. So I wanted to just say that the core values have been a true evolution, like everything else. You know, the core values, the very first conversation started with a process that was done with employees about 2.5 years ago, where they defined, we gave them like 8 or 10 core values. They came up with the things that were most important, which is what Director Stanley was referring to. They actually were not in any order in particular, and the reason that, and you know, we then later added service because that was missing. We only had 4 at the beginning: the trust, leadership, accountability, and collaboration. And collaboration was something the board added. So we did these because we thought they sort of flowed better in terms of where we start and where we end. But we did want to define them, especially accountability, because accountability actually, even more than trust to the employees, was a big one that came up. And what we found with accountability, there was a lot of holding others accountable, but not necessarily ourselves. And so, again, evolution of really wanting to make sure we created the definitions. And I think now that we are, you know, about 2 years into this major transition of the organization, we are able to define what this means now for the organization in a way that makes sense, I think, where we are and where we're headed. So I just wanted to add, that's the evolution of the core values. We've added 2 in the definitions, and it's come from the work that's been done in the organization. I don't know that the employees really care where trust is on the list. I just think that they felt that actually like I said, accountability was a bigger one than the trust, but it has to be there somewhere, and I think that's in line with what the board has also said is important. So anyway, I wanted to provide that background on the core values.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Are there any more comments on this one? Director Stanley, you were going to say something, yes or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, sorry. I'm moving my mouse around, but it's not intentional.
So I can see when your box lights up. That's why I asked you. Okay. Is everyone good with this one?
Director Winger has a question.
Yes?
I wanted to propose that we accept these core values with their definitions. And then we can move on and we won't have to revisit at least these things. So I move that we accept the core values with the moving of trust up to number 2, it's fine with me, and that we accept all of the definitions as written. I find them to be simple, understandable, and I really like them. So that's my proposal.
No action today. We're just taking feedback, and when we present,
Yes.
it'll be for the full board to present to accept the plan in its totality. So there's nothing
Exactly.
for today.
Yeah, we're not taking action. We're just getting a report today.
All right. So then, since we're not doing that, thank you for the correction. Since we're not doing that, what would be what would be the vehicle to, if a board member wishes to make a change, then what would be the vehicle for that?
We're giving
Trying-
feedback. We're giving feedback to them today.
Okay, well, will we make changes at the next meeting if that meeting is to approve on the agenda, if it's an action item?
So the way that we'll handle that is if, because it has to be the majority of the board, if we hear the majority of the board, so far, the majority of you are liking the same things and are in agreement. If we get a comment from just one board member, then that's probably not something we're going to propose. But if we hear that either a consensus one way or the other, or maybe even in a situation where the board's like, I don't really care, and one board member wants something, then that'll be reflected in the update we provide you. Because individually, we can't, if it's just one person, we're not going to change the plan for the one person. But so what will be presented is anything that is reflective of the feedback today that is the majority of the board. Or maybe, as I said, in a situation where the board doesn't care and there's one person who wants to change, then maybe that's a change we can make. That's sort of how we're approaching it.
So for example, for these, what I will be presenting next week is this same set of things in the final plan, but with trust moved to number 2. And then you'll vote on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so what's on the next slide? Let's look at it. Is there anything we need to discuss on the next one?
So these are the goals. Would it be, I do have the previous slides where I sort of show how the new goal was formed from the old goal and where that is. Would that be useful to sort of look at each individual goal, or do you want to just go over the goals in totality?
Vice President Stubbs, could I make a suggestion?
Here, right?
Go ahead. Say it again.
Could I make a suggestion?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what might be helpful, since the board has had a chance to look at these for a couple weeks, is what might be helpful is if the board doesn't have a problem with what's been presented, maybe we could hear the feedback for the things that you do want changed. I mean, we can assume that if you don't comment on it, that you're okay with it, and those things where you do have a suggestion for a change, or you don't, whatever it is, maybe we go through it in that way, because some of these are pretty much bigger. So it might not be as effective to kind of go through each one. That's just my suggestion as a way to get through it.
I'm good with that. We've looked at these. I personally have looked at it ad nauseum. I'm okay with looking at them again, but I will defer to my fellow directors if they need to look at it again. It appears Director Stanley is having problems getting back in to Zoom. Sir Justin, can you help her?
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Thank you. Director Weiner and Director Zepeda.
Okay.
Do you need to go through them one by one, or have you had a chance to look through these enough?
Yes, and I have a comment. I just wanted to reiterate that the way I reviewed this was page by page of the actual strategic plan. So at some point, I have some overall comments about the whole plan that we need to get back to. So I'm willing to talk about my comments on this page from the strategic plan
Okay.
for the moment, but I wanted to circle back and talk about the plan as a whole and maybe go through page by page because I had word choices, etc., that I'd like to throw out there.
Okay.
So
Okay, we can do that. We can do that.
on this page,
Carol, would it be easier to pull that up maybe than this?
Well,
Bring up the
I
draft.
have, so I do have a draft plan portion of this, like later on. I just felt like these were kind of like the major overarching pieces that we might want to review first and then get into, I do have like a picture of the plan and then we'll go through it. And I do have your changes, Director Weiner, as well, and I've gone through those.
okay, great. So I will mention, I'm looking at my document and the first,
Yeah, this is, yeah, go ahead.
the first one would be to be an environmental steward. I think, let's see, where's that one? Okay. Wait a second. So this is nothing like.
Let's go to, yeah, sorry. This is, let's go to, I'm going to go to the actual plan. Stop share. I'm going to go to the plan.
Carrie, you're showing all the good stuff too quickly.
That's so exciting.
I know, I was teasing it.
Now we can't.
So you know, it's coming. It's coming. All right. But now back to the plan.
It's my fault. I didn't go the way you guys wanted to go.
Oh, Harry, you spoiled the surprise.
Well, now you know that there's fun stuff to look at.
Hey, there was a spoiler email. What are you talking about?
All right. So just back to this, because originally we didn't actually use that slide, and then I thought it had been the updated version. So I want to make sure that we.
Sorry, before you proceed, Vice President Sudduth, I'm not sure if you saw Director Stanley's message that Zoom is on letting her.
Yeah, we did. Justin just fixed it. She just needs to be unmuted.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't know, Director Stanley, if you can talk now.
She said, I'm okay now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Director Weiner, be an environmental steward in our community.
So I'm looking at strategic goal number 2.
Yes.
And my comment was, our ultimate goal is carbon net negative. Is our 5-year goal to be well on our way to carbon neutral? The wording should hedge, so failure is not an option, but it should be aspirational. That's my comment on environmental stewardship. So we left off in this, it doesn't have ultimately. So that took the wind out of my sails right there. Yeah, you do have ultimately becoming carbon neutral.
Yeah.
Okay. So in my view, our ultimate goal is carbon net negative, but for 5 years that won't be possible, and it's very difficult to think that we would be successful at being carbon neutral in 5 years. That would be wonderful. So I would change the wording to be more aspirational and, hedging. And I think I didn't include, is our I included our 5-year goal is ultimately our 5-year goal would be to be well on our way to carbon neutral, something like that, where it's a hedge. And then for number 4, I noticed as I read through the document that there's a logical inconsistency, or it should be explained that a single strategy, as you're calling, we have strategic goals and then we have individual strategies. And it's not clear that an individual strategy can get us to more than one strategic goal. So in the case of number 4, it's a lot like number 1. If you look at it as a separate thing. And I noticed you pointed to it in the document as number 4. I chose originally to say something about goal 4 on a strategy. This is a goal 4 strategy, and then I looked and you had said, no, it's a goal 1 strategy. So that's why I think there's a logical inconsistency. That's my comment there. And then I think I have one more. We had a goal that I really liked, which was the goal of planning for the future today, a strategic goal. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't pick out a strategic goal here that included that idea. So I wanted to bring that up, that we had that as one of our original strategic goals, and it's not represented by any of these goals at all, or that I could see. And maybe in in the author's mind that it is there, but I don't see it. Those are my 3 comments for the strategic goals.
Thank you, Dr. Weiner. And Dr. Stanley, she's back.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to build a little bit on what Director Weiner just said. I'm okay with not thinking that embracing that we're not necessarily going to reach goals in 5 years. I remember, didn't we have a workshop last year that talked about, well, you can make 5-year goals. We're pretty confident we can sustain whatever goals you come up with for the first year or 2. Number 3, maybe not so much, and 4 and 5, it's kind of up in the air. So I'm not feeling too pressured by, can we do it in 5 years? And I really like environmental stewardship, and that was sort of Harry's original goal. I like keeping that goal out in front of us all the time so that, we make significant progress towards that goal, and I'm not hung up on how long it's going to take us. Our original goals where we embrace our obligations to the future by planning and preparing today, well, I'm particularly fond of that one since that's something that I came up with, and I thought I was being really inspirational when I read it. So I would like something along those lines, or exactly that. I also have a problem with number 1 and number 4 in that I kind of get confused as to what it's saying. I'm sorry. The other 2 is great. So maybe we can, and I didn't, I listened to the last meeting, and I thought we were just supposed to send in our comments, not actual do some work, that we do the work together. So my apologies, I didn't work on, well, if I don't like something, this is what I would propose instead. So sorry about that. Can we rework perhaps 1 and 4? I'm done. I can't hear you.
I didn't get your question. 1 and 4, I mean, maybe I didn't understand.
So she wants to rework infrastructure strategy, like adopt infrastructure maintenance and modernization strategies, and potentially identify and leverage information and data management systems. The other thing that, if it's okay if I address at this time, was the planning for the future goal that used to be. And the reason why it's not in this list of goals is because it impacts every single goal. Every single goal is about planning for the future. Every single one of these goals. And actually, I had originally pulled it out as an overarching goal for the whole plan, but then it started to not align properly. Like because that is a goal that is in, you're doing these maintenance and modernization strategies because you are planning to, like, you're doing it right now. You're planning today for the future with these goals. So it was very inspirational, and it actually inspired most of this whole structure.
Sarah, could
So I just
you
want to
work
be,
it
yeah.
into maybe like a tagline or logo or something like that?
Yeah, I actually think it would make a great tagline.
Yeah.
I like tagline.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because, yeah, it makes more sense that you said it like that, because like Harry, it did hit me that goal had disappeared, but now that you said it like that, I can see it. So thank you.
It's going to be our overall.
Yeah, no, thank you for explaining it that way, because that makes sense. So, and I don't want to steal Cesar's thunder because it's his turn. So, but thank you for saying that. It makes more sense to me now, because I had the same note for myself that was missing. So thank you. Director Stanley, you had more or no?
Well, I actually have reread why others were talking, and we didn't get these before, did we, Tara?
Yes.
This is new today?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Well, I like them mostly. Yeah.
Okay.
I take
Yeah.
back
yeah, we got this.
thing.
Yeah, we got this before. Okay, great. Director Zepeda?
Sorry, my mouse is difficult. All right. One thing, and I was going to mention this later on, but maybe now's the time. Oxford commas, and we can just work on those throughout the document, make sure we got the commas right. And then in regards to taglines, I don't know if we want to do the same thing or not, but the city of San Pablo, for an example, does an annual tagline, and they do this whole big thing, and they announce, this year's theme tagline is this, and I forget what this year's is, but they do that every year, and it's not a goal, it's not a vision, it's not anything, it's just a tagline that sort of helps them focus on that particular year. One piece of the goal or one piece of something that's going on. Just a thought if to adopt that going forward or in the future. Other than that, I'm fine with the goals. These goals are going to help us move us forward, and that's what I care about. So I'm good with that for now.
Perfect. Okay. So, I like it because I think we have looked at them, and I'm using my favorite word, ad nauseum, but I really like it because it provides clarity to what we're doing. My favorite thing, and that's what I always like. I think it's the right mix of of aspiration, but practicality, right? Because we can be so aspirational that we won't be able to get anything done, because the goals can be so aspirational that they can be unachievable. And that's not what we're trying to do. They have to still be strategic enough that we can hold people accountable to actually achieve something in these 5 years. So I think that we've spent quite enough time on this, and I think we finally found a good mix of it to be able to grab the strategic goals and make smart goals out of these strategic goals and smart tasks out of these strategic goals. So I'm fine with it. I think it's good. We can spend the rest of the time, wordsmithing it if we want to, but I think it's good. Director Wiener, you were going to give something on the environmental stewardship before the next meeting, I take it, for the end, or are you okay with this?
I think my comments were to, not for me to wordsmith, but to throw out my, ideas for changes, not necessarily how to exactly do it. And along the line of what you said, I don't believe in 5 years we will be carbon neutral. So the ultimately is causing me a problem, because I would like to ultimately be carbon net negative. But if we're just looking at a 5-year timeline, I think we should hedge that becoming carbon neutral and say something like be close, be far along, so that we're not putting out a goal that's, like you said, impossible or too aspirational that we can actually get somewhere.
Right.
I would love it if we were carbon neutral in 5 years. We would be 15 years ahead of everybody else.
Yeah. So, Ms. Tara, you kind of got what he's looking for. So maybe it's words like making strides towards, something like that, or making significant strides towards, something like that. Significant progress towards, significant strides towards, something like that, that it's still aspirational, but it doesn't like chain us to it, or chain, the staff to it if they don't achieve it, because it's, for whatever reason, it's not achievable.
Right.
But you get what?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I appreciate your comments, Director Wiener, and it's absolutely, you are 100% correct that I am most likely overreaching. I was very inspired.
Yes. Okay. All right, great. Miss Jenna, next.
Okay, so going back to the presentation, as you know, just a reminder that we have gone through a lot of logos. I'm just gonna even skip, and then we came to those last time, which led us to evolve it a little bit even more to present a couple different alternatives in terms of color, to see if that altered kind of how we were feeling about the logos. So, and as promised, I'm providing them in terms of a single color, so that you know what it would look like if it were merely black and white, and also in grayscale. And then in reverse color, which I think is a really interesting piece. And then I've also got a bunch of implementation examples to kind of go through, so you can see kind of what different pieces look like and what they look like on different colors. So how they might look on vehicles. And we can go back to any of these that you guys want to, but I wanted to show you kind of the world, and then I thought we might hone in on some ideas. And the reason why I didn't include the other two logos because they didn't seem to resonate with you guys. So in terms of building the mock-ups and the grayscale, I went with what has spoken to you guys in the past. So any thoughts, anything you guys want to see? Again, this is probably my favorite rendition of them because they are vivid.
And everybody wears the hats.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's jumping out at you? Dr. Stanley, what do you think?
Well, judging by the hats, and I don't wear hats.
I don't either.
Judging by the hats, I like the first one.
Okay. Director
I
Zepeda?
like
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
well, none of the employees like the third one, but the third one's pretty. I'm just making a call.
Yeah, that third one's jumping out. No, not none of them. There was a lot of feedback on the third one.
And just to kind of go back to the feedback.
Yeah, one person.
And again, I'm just gonna keep flipping through them as you guys, so you can kind of see what they look like in different formats.
Will you do it slower, Tara?
Absolutely.
Director Zepeda, what's your thoughts?
I like the middle one. Tara, would you mind going, like even there against the white, if you go back one, it just looks, I'm not looking at the words right now, I'm just looking at the logo itself, and it looks like a water drop, right? The other ones with the purple, you kind of have to try to guess what it may be without the words, right? Because we have to be able to explain, and this logo has to talk for itself to people. So it looks like water, so that makes me think, oh, you guys have something to do with water. Maybe, I don't know if it's possible keeping the middle one bluish hues like it is now, and then the back teardrop or water drop be resembled of the other one that has purple, so we can incorporate the purple into it. I don't know if that's a possibility.
Absolutely, it's a possibility.
That was, how did you say we draw the purple back in?
So there's two water drops here. One, there's the small one at the front, and there's the larger one in the back. So keeping the front one as blue is similar to what it is now in the middle, and then the bigger back one, making it, having the colors start from purple and then goes up to yellow like it is on the left one. So it's, instead of meshing all the colors together at once, it creates a little bit more of a 3D. The first one, the one in the front is its own image, and the one in the back is its own image. Anyways, but other than that, I like it. And oh, actually, the other thing is, and I mentioned this before too, the wastewater just looks so big. But that was just my
I actually shrunk it down a ton and made the county bigger. It actually used to be even bigger. And if I get rid of, we just need to figure out, we'll talk about the name in just a minute, but I did actually shrink it like a lot.
Okay.
But
I mean, I like it. I think it looks sexy. It looks new. It looks like we're moving forward. Right? It's a new day for the organization, and it's continuing to be a new day. So I like it.
What about you, Director Weiner? What's your initial reaction? What do you think?
Well,
so he's thinking that, by the way.
I'm sorry.
I revised it so that it would show what Director Zepeda was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So now it's got the purple and the blue.
Yeah. Can you enlarge it again? Or put it back in
Absolutely.
play again? Yeah. Go ahead, Director Wayne.
Yeah, I think Director Sutter described it as the male relationship with color in the last meeting, and I agree with her. Basic colors are my basic go-to,
Yeah.
and I really like number 2 because of that. Very basic. I actually, can you show me that again? As a compromise between my kindergarten color scheme and adult color schemes, I like the idea of all blue in the front and then the background having a little purple in it. That's pretty cool. Other than that, number 2 on every slide, even reverse. I particularly like that hat, but you have to wear it over your ears. I like the flat brim, but you have to wear it over your ears. So I'm always wearing hats because I got no hair.
Well, make sure you get the right hat.
Well, I think that hat always, if you look at people who wear flat brim hats, they always have the hats over their ears, or their ears are pulled out, you know, by the hat because of the flat brim. So neither look I like, and that may be because I'm old-fashioned. I like my ears below my hat, and I also don't like my ears folded out when the hat is sitting on my head. But other than that, I like number 2, and that is every incarnation that you showed, including on the truck. I like it there. Very, very good. So that's my opinion.
Okay. So I do like the new one better. Just let her know, I'll touch her before she leaves, please. I do like, sorry, I'm at my office. I do like I still like the other one a lot. I do like what you're doing with what you've just done with this one, this number 2 better. I do think if you're going to do it, you're going to have to make the purple a little more pronounced. With what you just did, Tara, I know you're just playing with it.
Yeah.
To make the purple tip a little bit more pronounced so we actually see the recycled water in it. Because that's the whole purpose of it, right? Make the blue, make the blue, the purple, you know what I mean? Just to make it more pronounced on the primary water drop, make it blue. Just go for it. Just make the colors as vibrant as you can. If we're gonna go with that one. I like the grayscale, the way that it translates to grayscale. I think out of all of them, when you translate the scales and even the black and white and the reverse scales, I think that that's probably the one that translates the best. And in black and white and all of those, I think they translate the best. But I think what's selling me the most on that one is on the truck. So can we look at the truck?
Absolutely.
I also don't wear hats, so I don't care about the hats. I think though, when you go down the street and you see it on the truck, I think that it does make a statement on the truck and on the white shirt. So I think seeing it on white, seeing water drop on white on the shirt, and then but on the truck is where they're going to see it a lot. That's where the most people are going to see it. They probably won't see it on our shirts unless it'll be a long time before we can go to a conference. But they'll see it on the truck. They'll see it on our vehicles.
I just tweaked this one a little bit.
Yeah,
so I
there we go.
I want to show you this one again.
All right, let me see. Yeah, that's what I'm talking
So
about.
now it's,
And give more color. If you're gonna do the color, do the color.
Colleagues, I have a question. Does anybody else think of natural gas flame, Bunsen burner, when they look at that image?
I do, science. That was the first thing I thought of when I first saw it, was the flame, yeah. But, I mean, I know it's water, so. That's exactly what it looks like, Harry, exactly. But yes, okay, that's better. But I think that, yeah. Yeah. Okay,
And
yes, sir.
Director,
Director Zepeda? Yes, sir.
I'm like, what am I calling you today?
All of those.
All of the above.
Yes, sir.
Also, it will look. I would be curious to see what it will look like on masks, because we're all going to be needing masks for the next few months, at least a year.
Yes, sir.
So FYI on that.
Yes, I would like that. I would like
And
that.
and as Director Reno was saying, the flame, right? It did remind me of that flame. So that the first logo reminds me of the flame, just the way that it's colored. So just being careful with that. The other thing I was going to say, I was looking at the comments from Michael, and he was asking what the colors meant. And then as Director Stanley mentioned it, I think we can have a story behind the logo, because, and I think Jared had brought this up before, right? The blue is water, purple is recycled water, green is earth. So we could have a story behind the different colors and
Yeah,
explaining all that.
I agree. It's the one water concept. My favorite. One water concept is something that we talk to. Yes, I like it. I like it a lot.
Perfect. And then would this be put in the different signage that we're going to have around the offices that we have? Will they be in wood, or will they be in some kind of thick plastic? So it's more retro? Just a question. You don't need to have an answer. It's just a question for later.
Yeah, we are doing an inventory currently of all of our logos. So as we figure out where we're going to be located, who's going to be located where, what our offices are going to look like, we'll work with all of that. It'll all be a much more as part of branding, you want everything to be cohesive so that when you see this, you know who we are and what we stand for. So everything has that in mind.
Lisa, I know that next year we're celebrating, if I remember, I keep forgetting our birthday, but is it 75 years next year?
100.
I don't know why where I keep getting 75 from. Can we make a commemorative something logo? Maybe it's this, and at the top it just says celebrating 100 years or something?
Sure, yeah, once you settle on what the brand is, then we have all kinds of options, and we could do all kinds of things. Who knows what the 100 years is going to look like at this point? So maybe it'll look like a mask with those colors. I don't know. So you can.
Yes. So I have Director Stanley and then Director Weiner.
Well, I was thinking that maybe we just keep the middle blue the way blue, and then move more purple up and eliminate the blue in the second part of the backdrop, and keep green so that we're water, recycled water, and the earth. Plus, I like purple, so just saying. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Ms. Terry, why don't you just play with it and just let us see it? Okay, Director Weiner.
So the other thing, just really quickly, the other thing that I think might help against the flame thing is, I don't know if you noticed, but I made the inside bigger so that it creates a more cohesive shape. And I think that gets us away from the flame vibe.
Yeah.
And just to show, because I can do these changes so quickly that it's like, there's one with no blue in the middle. Just to show Director Stanley what that might look like.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Okay.
Is it my turn?
Yes, sir.
Maybe a lot of times water is shown in two-dimensional with a kind of like a window highlight, where it gives a reflective surface kind of thing, where, water has the, part of the, like say in the middle of the blue, there's a window of white because it's reflecting light, and that gives it that water quality rather than a flame quality. I don't know how to better express it because, again, my art training was in third grade.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can actually do that super quickly again.
Well, also, maybe we can squish the outside one smaller.
Do we have anything else on the agenda? I mean, I love playing logos, but I just want to see if we have anything
Yes.
else.
Well, we do have this discussion.
I also have more comments on the whole document.
Can we do that, and then Tara, maybe you can just
Yeah,
play with
I'll
some
play with the logo.
suggestions on the logo and let us know about that, so we can move this along, please. Okay.
Yep.
So, what's next? Organization name discussion. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
It was brought up. It was at the last meeting. It was brought up, and I was told to potentially think of some ideas, and we would just discuss whether or not we wanted to.
Okay.
So I haven't spent a ton of time on this. I've just come up with some general examples, and I wanted to provide you guys with a little bit of history and feedback on that proposal.
All right. So, here we go.
Yep.
All right. So, let's look at this and Director Stanley, you have some feedback on this?
I like West County wastewater.
Okay. That was easy. Director Zepeda?
I'm just reading through these here now.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to. Sorry, it's the first time that I see them. I don't think this was on the agenda unless I missed it. But the West County One Water sounds interesting. The community services, that sounds more like a parks district or some kind of. So that one I'm not too sure about. But I like the One Water and the reclamation, just something that says more of what we're doing, because we're not just wastewater. Again, we start with wastewater, but the ultimate goal is to have this clean water that we can reuse. So that's why I was mentioning to see if we can do a new name. So those will be mine for now, from what I see now, the One Water and the water reclamation.
Thank you, sir. Director Wiener?
Yeah, I like sanitary in there. I feel like that's carrying on our historical job. And it is, I mean, we have a lot of staff devoted to moving that shit down to the plant. And, it's a big part of our image. All of our trucks are out there rotor-rootering, and really the public's interface with us is not the plant, which is the coolest. Sorry, everybody in CSO, sorry. But for a nerd, you know, chemistry is important. But the CSO guys are the face of our operation, and I'd like to definitely keep the word sanitary. I like shortening it to West County Sanitary. I like WC San, but I think that's trying to disguise, you know, what we do. And what we do is crack away phones. That's our most important job. That's my comment.
Thank you. I like West County wastewater. I like West County sanitary. I do like West County One Water, except we're not doing One Water. One Water really means both drinking water and wastewater. It means doing all water, and we're not really doing that. East Bay Mud is doing half of what we would be doing if we use the One Water concept. But I do like one that's not here, and it's clean water. Something like West County Clean Water or something of that nature. But I want to think about this one a little bit more. But I'm going to say what I said last time. I would have just cautioned us to do anything before we get through our 100, because I would like to get through our 100th anniversary with the name that we, and then maybe reveal something new, because I would like to celebrate what we are, and then if we're going to do something, we're making a lot of changes before. I mean, I think that's a lot. Really.
And we're not suggesting right now actually doing a legal name change. I think what we're really talking about is only sort of a brand change and a change in the abbreviation. And so you certainly can evolve this over time, because you're going to have a new look, and really we are already referred to as West County Wastewater, so it's not a huge change. It's just dropping the part that can now cause some confusion and being focused. So it's something that the board could just simply, you know, we could if the board likes West County Wastewater, at least it's a bit of a change without being a dramatic change. And then if you want to revisit it and actually go to a legal name change, then I would say we probably want to spend a lot more time figuring out what the name is that is reflective of where we're headed. And that probably should be done in more detail and at a different time. So the intent wasn't for a legal name change at this point. It's really just kind of a branding.
Okay, that makes sense. And I agree. We need to spend more and be more intentional and more time if it's going to be something bigger. Great. Okay. Any more comments? Yay. Move up next.
So this is where I plan to go through page by page if people had changes. And I do have Director Wiener's comments. But I had planned on just pulling up the standard. I'm going to stop sharing so that you guys don't just continually see my presentation, which is now not being useful. Come on. Where's my mouse?
I would
Okay.
suggest, because you're going to have a lot of pages and a lot of comments, that maybe we only go, like, if people are okay with things and it's really just talking about the things that where we need to make some changes or comments, that might be a more efficient way to go through it, versus, because that's a lot of pages to go through every page. That's, again, a suggestion.
And I'm happy to just, Director Wiener's comments, and I've seen them, are fairly minor in terms of they're just word choice for the most part. So I'm happy to just incorporate those if you guys want to. I don't know how we want to do that, or I could just deal with any issues, but just let me know how you want to, in this case, how you want to move forward.
Let's look. So, did everyone get a chance to look at those? Do you have any specific comments? Because if you have specific comments, let's just go through the specific comments so we don't have to go through the whole thing. Director Wiener?
I can go through some of my comments, but I'm more than happy to let my comments be the document that I submitted to Tara, and will, so I don't waste the whole board's thought. And then however the board, whatever comments the board has would then, if no one but me said something about something, then the final document would reflect that. So I just had some general overall comments, and I'm glad to wait my turn if you have a different order for the board.
Okay, great. Director Stanley, you have comments?
Not at this time. Maybe after Harry talks, but probably not.
Director Zepeda?
Nothing now.
Okay, so Director Weiner, go ahead, and then because I'm fine, and I see if were his comments already included, Ms. Dye?
No, not in this last version. I just received these kind of before this meeting. So I've gone through them and have read them. They're primarily things like changing aiming with helping, which are really easy changes. And I thank you for those comments. I think they're really strong. And then there's a couple of additional strategies that I'm sure you want to address specifically, Director Weiner.
Okay, yes, go ahead, you can go.
General comments. I like the look and feel of the document. I like the way it's organized. It seems like the majority of the document is in executive summary because of the unique header. So if it's just a regular title page for a particular section, then it needs to be it needs to be changed. And if this is, if the whole document is an executive summary, that should be said in the title. And the title page should also have as a subtitle either the dates 2020 to 2025 or 5-year strategic plan. So I see that some of the headings do have the 20 to 2025, but the title page should have that as well. And those were the more general. I'll skip over the word changes. I've already talked about the goals. Yeah, so you have, let's see, on page 10, so let me see if I can have page 10 shown on my thing.
I'm here. I can pull up. I will pull up the latest version and then move to page 10 so that people can see it. So, share screen. And there we go. Share. And get bigger. Get more. There we go.
Yeah, so I would just add, because this page is just how to read the document, I think. My interpretation of what this page was meant to be, how to understand how the document's organized and how you relate strategies to actions. And so it's just an example. But I would also add parenthetically what strategic goal, evaluate system and develop asset management plan. And if it's both 1 and 4, I would put that. And then the picture on of a plant is not our plant, so I would try to get a similar photo from above of our plant.
That actually is drone footage from your plant.
That's our plant?
Yes.
I've never seen
Where?
an image.
There's the solar panels, and these are the tanks. But you see the solar panels in the background. That might help orient. I think it's oriented differently than what normally you see.
Yeah,
But yeah, this was.
from touring the plant, I don't recall all the little boxes. I picture them as long runs, so that may be my problem.
Yeah, it's definitely like super up high drone footage.
Okay, well, if it's our plant, then I take it back. And then, yeah, I've already mentioned, does each strategy support more than one strategic goal? And then for strategies, I had some suggestions for that list on page 11. And that would be continuously look for cost savings from current processes and possible revenue streams by creating resources from byproducts. So, and then the next one would be on page 13. Which is, no, well, this is page 16 in the packet, so.
I figured out you're 2 pages ahead in terms of numbers.
Yeah,
So I'm good.
that's the way the packet names them, and that's the way
Right.
I'm going to add them.
Yeah.
So then for strategies on that page, I wanted to have create relationships with elected officials whose constituents are also our constituents, and provide educational materials for K through 6 teachers to help with curricula development. Hygiene is a big part of kindergarten curricula, for example. So stuff like that would be a real big plus for the district. Kids would grow up not flushing, flushable wipes and knowing what goes on with clothes. And then I really like the way I look in the last picture of or the middle of the last picture. And that's my comments on the document.
That was it?
That was it.
That was it.
Best last comment. Best last comment. Okay. All right. Director Zepeda or Director Stanley, any final comments?
Not for me.
Besides you like your picture at the end.
No, I was confused on the pictures too. I didn't recognize the district, so Harry pretty much covered anything I might say. Thank you.
Okay, great. Wonderful. We made it through. All right, any final comments?
The next tour, you all have to go and get on top of tall ladders to look at our field from everywhere. I went in and I started taking pictures and videos, so, just grab a tall ladder and climb it.
I think we have the drone video on our website somewhere, or we did at one time.
We did. Um, we had it from the last open
Open
house.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
It's
I
there.
remember.
Yeah, I saw the video, but that doesn't mean that I remember it. Okay.
I remember.
At least we're honest. At least we're honest.
Remember it. I remember it.
Okay,
About 10
so
minutes
just
after.
as a, oh, I'm sorry, Vice President said if you wanted to wrap it up, is that?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
You have something to say?
Yeah, just the last comment, just to reiterate what I said at the very beginning. So we will take today's comments and feedback and incorporate them into the plan. And then we will present on June 1st the final version, and it will be for adoption. We will not necessarily go through everything again since it's since we've already gone through all the details. So it will be just something that as an action item. The alternative is that we could simply put it on the June 17th agenda if you prefer, and you could vote at it at a regular board meeting as opposed to having a special meeting just for this since you've already talked about it. But you let us know what you prefer.
I like not having a special meeting.
I like having it on the June 17th.
Okay.
We can talk about it right now. Right? There was two of us. Director Zepeda, Director Stanley. Is there a time rush? Director Stanley asked.
No, there's no rush. I just would like to have it done by the beginning of the fiscal year so we're complete and can start next fiscal year with an adopted 5-year plan. Staff is continuing to, we have obviously the next layer of all of the action plan that go with these strategies, accomplishing those. So we are already working on those things. That's not something that comes to the board, but it would be nice to just settle it. So June 17th, if you're good, that's good for us. And in the staff report, I will sort of explain what happens now that we've adopted it and where we go and how we use it as staff. But happy to put it on the 17th if that's okay with everyone else, which it sounds like it is.
Any objections, Director Zepeda? Dr. Stanley, any objections?
I've been having problems with my phone, so I'm not entirely sure that I've always gotten emails. I would like to have Tara's presentation to give us enough time to look it over before we actually see it next time. Is that possible?
Well, that'll give us, the June 17th meeting is 3 weeks away, so.
Well, okay, so am I understanding correctly then that we would sometime before that meeting?
You would see it as the same as any other meeting. We would publish the agenda on the Friday before, and that's when the materials would be given. You're not going to see, there's not going to be a whole lot of change. It's just going to be the comments that that were today really reflected in the plan. So the bulk of it is going to be what you currently have.
Okay, well, that's where I'm going is I don't currently have what we saw today. So,
sorry, go ahead.
If it was emailed out, again, I'm having trouble with my phone, so I didn't get it.
So it's not emailed, it's part of the agenda packet. So it was on it was part of the agenda packet from the last board meeting, and it was part of the agenda packet for this meeting. The only thing you don't have is the PowerPoint that Tara brought up this time, but the actual draft strategic plan is on today's agenda, and it was on last week. It's identical.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we usually get a link to the agenda.
So it seems like the 17th is okay.
Yeah, so no objection.
Okay.
17th works for us.
Okay, so we will cancel June 1st and give that to you on the 17th with the changes.
Wonderful. All righty, so looks like we are ready for the next item on the agenda?
The next item on the agenda is adjournment.
Our favorite, 143.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Staff, thank you so much. That was a great presentation. Thank you.
It was. Have a wonderful
Thank you.
afternoon. Thank you, Ms. Dara.
You
Good.
too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.